Hello, this is Mrs. Kohler, and thank you for joining me for your first podcast of the Chemical Nomenclature Unit. Now, nomenclature is just a fancy way of saying naming, so we're going to learn how to name chemical compounds. This first podcast is how to name covalent compounds, so please take a minute, write your related essential question at the top of your note sheet, pause the recording if you need to in order to do that. Now, covalent compounds form between two nonmetals. Now, we haven't gone over that so far in class, but you can see a periodic table off to the side here, and it shows metals in pink, metalloids in green, and nonmetals in blue. So when you see a compound where all of the atoms that are involved are from that blue section, the nonmetal section, that's how you know that a covalent compound is going to form. You should mark this area on the periodic table that's on your note sheet. What we're going to do then is we're going to switch over to a pen cast, which is done using my Smart Pen, where I will go over the rules for naming covalent compounds and some examples.
Okay, so when you are naming covalent compounds, there are 3 rules that you need to follow. The first rule is you write the name of the first element along with the prefix. Now, the prefixes that you want are on your note sheet, so you want to make sure you have that out to refer to while we're doing this. Now, if the prefix for the first one should be mono, then you don't write it. So carbon dioxide has 1 carbon, but you don't say monocarbon dioxide, you just say carbon dioxide. Now for the second element, you're going to write its name, but you need to change the ending to IDE. So oxygen becomes oxide. So you're changing the ending to IDE. So those are the 3 basic rules. So let's go through a couple of samples. The first sample that's on your paper is N2F4. So there's 2 nitrogens. You go over to your prefix chart, and next to 2 it says di. So you're going to say dinitrogen. And there are 4 fluorines. So the prefix for 4 is tetra. So dinitrogen, tetra, fluor, and then you change the N to IDE. Dinitrogen tetrafluoride. Your next sample is CO2. So for the first letter, there's only 1 of them. So you're not writing mono if it's the first one. So you're just saying carbon, because there's only 1 carbon. And then there's 2 oxygens, so you're using the prefix di. And oxygen becomes oxide. Now, occasionally you get one where if you said the whole prefix and the whole second part of the name, it would be awkward. So in this case, again, it's carbon at the beginning because there's only 1, so you don't do the mono. There's 1 oxygen. Now, you do use mono for the second element, but monoxide would be hard to say. So you're just going to do the mon part and then the word oxide. So you're not going to do that. That's wrong. So now there's 2 other examples we should do together. There's S2Br7 and Ni3. So S2, S is sulfur, and 2 is di. So it's disulfur And 7 is hepta. So it's hepta, and bromine becomes bromide. So I changed that ending to IDE. Ni3, well, there's only one nitrogen, so you don't need a prefix. So it's nitrogen, and there's 3 iodines, so it's triiodide. Triiodide. Now these last two give you the name, and you have to figure out the formula. So tetranitrogen decoxide. Now this is one of those where the last letter of the prefix got dropped because it was originally deca. So tetra means 4. So N is for nitrogen, 4 is for tetra. And oxide, well, that's oxygen, so you're putting an O. And deca is 10, so it's N4O10. And then diphosphorus pentachloride. Phosphorus is P, and di means 2. And chloride is Cl, and penta means 5, so you have P2Cl5. Now there are 3 exceptions that you do need to know to this naming, and those are NH3 is ammonia. You just need to memorize that name. H2O is water. We don't call it dihydrogen monoxide, it's just water. And CH4 is methane. Those 3 you need to memorize, but the rest you can do by just using the rules that I've just given you. Now you're going to want to go to page 6 in your packet and do the practice. Have a great day.